Hello and welcome back to the OneStream podcast. Now, yesterday we had a little bit of technical difficulties. If you were listening in, we got bumped, and I wanted to have Gidon come back and talk about Morgan Franklin. If you were listening to that, we got lost, I guess, in the middle of it. We don't know where it ended, but thank you for coming back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's get it out. Let's talk about Morgan Franklin. Who are you guys? What do you do?
Sure. Morgan Franklin is a management consulting firm that is focused on the CFO suite.
Right.
We're based in McLean, Virginia. We have about 500 people in the company. And we have 4 verticals that we focus on: risk advisory, FP&A, accounting, and technology. The CPM practice is part of the technology vertical, and that's where we spend our time. And when we go to clients, we have support from other verticals. So if we have a technical accounting issue, we bring in accountants. Right. If we have a FP&A issue with planning or forecasting, we can bring in people from that area. So we really provide a more holistic approach to solve the problems that the company has, not the specific issue.
Right. And I think we said yesterday too, this is the one-stop shop, the Walmart for CFOs and CEOs, that you can come here for all kinds of advice and support.
Absolutely. What we find often is when we come to implement a OneStream application, typically the client has other questions that they have, like how do we do CTA? How do we do eliminations with this situation? Minority interest, all these kind of technical accounting questions. On the FP&A side, they want to know what's the best practice in forecasting. Do you want to do continuous forecasting? Do you do a budget and then 4 forecasts in the next year? So that's where we have our other expertise that we bring into the table, and we let the client kind of share best practices and what fits them.
Yeah. So tell me about the conference. What do you think so far?
I love this conference.
Yeah.
So last year at Wave, the conference was kind of a bridge between Splash and today.
Yeah.
It was in the middle. It was not as technical as it is today, but I think everybody here, all 800 of us, love the level of technical knowledge that we're disseminating.
Yeah.
Especially the access to the programmers, the developers, the software engineers, of course, the brass, the higher-ups.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
And so you participated in the hackathon?
Yes, we did. We participated.
Tell for the listeners who don't know, maybe kind of describe what's a hackathon.
Hackathon is a competition
Yeah.
where participants present a solution that they developed. We didn't know what solution we were supposed to develop. OneStream made it easy on us. They said, build whatever you want and present it. And we were lucky enough that we already have a solution that we put with all our clients. We call it the Advanced Developer Utility. Yeah. It's a suite of kind of enhancers or ready-made solutions that we put out that help us build the application faster. So we were able to present that utility, and little technical glitch at the beginning. Couldn't connect to the monitor. My laptop.
We don't know. We don't have technical glitches on the OneStream podcast, do we, Jeff? I don't know if we do.
No, not at all. But
that's why we're only doing this interview a second time.
Absolutely, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It's my first hackathon, so I was very happy to participate.
And so just a bunch of developers are sharing code and solutioning.
Yeah. So I don't know what the other developers put out there. I kind of tried to figure it out by talking to them, but they were a little closed-lipped. I told them, listen, if you win, I'm going to find out anyway. But yeah, we're happy to share the Advanced Developer Utility with our clients. I mean, when we come in, we implement that. We put that on their
And this is something a Morgan Franklin customer would own as part of their implementation.
Yeah, it's like a marketplace solution that once you take it, we don't take it back. Once we leave, we leave it with you. And actually, we teach them how to use it. So it's certain functions like the intercompany detail utility, the journal entry utility, the formula pass utility. All these things stay with the client, and we don't want to take it back. We want them to use it. We want to help them work faster with the software.
Yeah. Let me. Take me through this. So you come in and you do an implementation, and you use the utility to actually build it, and then you walk away and they own that.
Yes. So the utility started from a specific problem. We went into a client, we built a dimension, and they said, we don't like this dimension. We need to change we need to take out all these other accounts.
And it can be tedious to delete, especially if you loaded data.
Exactly.
So like, unless you want to just completely blow everything up and.
Exactly. But we didn't want to delete all the data. We wanted
Yeah.
to delete just data from accounts that they don't need.
Right,
And
right,
there
right.
happened to be hundreds of accounts.
Yeah.
So we built this utility that cycles through all these accounts, deletes the data, and then goes and deletes those members.
Yeah.
This is the development utility. This is not meant to be
Yeah.
used in production, obviously.
Yeah.
But we tell the clients, we're going to leave this with you, but this is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
dangerous thing. This is not something
Yeah.
you want to use in production.
Yeah.
And we can put guards around that. We can make it so that obviously only administrators can do it.
Yeah.
But we can also turn off some of the functions so that they can't accidentally
Yeah.
do it, which they don't.
I mean, and that's interesting too. I mean, you know, a lot of software like this, it's built, it's designed, it's set up for like the steady state use. And in development, when you're, you know, as a consultant too, you know, coming in, I'm starting with something new. I've got to add thousands of accounts. I have to add all these rules. I have to do this and that. You know, the product engineering team isn't worried about the consultant's life.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's more about, it's the customer. You want the customer to be happy in the end. And if the consultant has to click a million times, nobody cares.
Right.
We get no sympathy.
Right. And that's where this came from. It came to fill in those gaps between what do we do with before we go live, before we put it in production.
Yeah.
And then we started with that, and then we said, hey, why don't we build this utility that shows us the formula passes along all the business rules and the dependencies between formula passes,
Yeah.
member formulas. Intercompany detail utility bridges the gap between the matching report and the standard report detail. So it's a utility that shows the data in the cube, the elimination intercompany data in the cube, not in the matching report. So those are the kind of things that the customer typically wants, typically needs.
Yeah.
And for us as developers, it helps us speed up. So we both benefit, we both gain from it.
Yeah. No, it's great. So next year, you're going to be back at the conference next year, you think?
Absolutely, I'm going to be back, and I hope to see what you guys have in store for us.
I
for the
have no
party.
idea what we're going to do for an event next year. Last night was exhausting, but it was a great time.
Especially for you, they put you on the spot there.
Yeah. Sometimes I get invited on stage. I don't know.
Well, you weren't responsible for your team.
Yeah, for the listeners that don't know, last night we were at the event and we had a Indiana Jones trivia question, and the consensus is, I missed the second question. It was a trick question, wasn't it?
I think that they had to have one team lose.
Yes.
So you just had the hard
yeah,
questions.
No, I was set up. I
And
was set up.
Some people say that answer is still, you did give the right answer. It's just technically. Can I just say one thing about
Yeah.
last night? So as I was walking back to the bus, I actually accidentally ended up walking back to the bus with Bob Powers.
Yeah.
And we were walking down the empty streets of
Yeah.
the Disney park
Yeah.
at 11 o'clock at night. And I was telling him, this is a moment that I need to absorb, because how often in my life will I have a chance to walk through Disney empty with nobody there next to you? Bob?
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind,
A genius.
It's a
really,
genius.
Yeah.
It's like walking next to Larry Page or
Yeah.
Steve Jobs. And of course, Bob being Bob, he's like, oh, thank you, that's so nice of you. But
Yeah.
to me, that was really the case, because it's an extraordinary event.
It's great, I think, for me, for any of us in this community to get together and have that bonding. So it's a really fun time.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you had a great time with Gidon. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.